Hey everybody, what's up? First of all, I'm not going to talk about YouTube and everything that's screwed up with the comments right now. We all know it. We've all spent a lot of time talking about it, and I'm done with it. I was going to take a few more nights off, actually, but it looks like I'm going to be out of town this weekend, probably leaving Thursday night. A friend of mine gets married on Saturday. I talked to him today and talked to a few other friends, and we're kind of planning a weekend in Milwaukee. So I'm not going to be around from Thursday night until sometime on Monday. I'll be back. So I just wanted to get a post out there tonight, kind of in regards to this wedding. This past weekend was very interesting. One of my last posts I did, the black and white one, about my friend's dad dying. This was before I left for Vegas, so maybe 3 weeks ago. And I guess what happened in the end is the family had a very small service in their gazebo in the backyard, just the immediate family. And then what they did is this past weekend, they had a celebration of his life at a local park. They had a pavilion, and it was a huge park, and they had food and drinks, and it was just a beautiful day, a beautiful summer day. A lot of my friends who were there were a lot of little kids, a lot of little girls actually, and they were all running around in their little summer dresses and all playing in the sand and climbing down hills and playing with crickets and frogs, and it was very touching. It was very touching to see this celebration of life, because that's how my friend's dad would have wanted it. Now, I didn't know my friend's dad that well. We didn't grow up together, so I've only met him a few times. But I know my friend. He's one of my best friends. And I know his family. And my heart goes out to them, of course. And with his dad passing, what was it, 3 or 4 days before I left for Las Vegas, it was very easy to kind of mourn about it, grieve about it, and then boom, I was gone to Las Vegas, and then Chicago, and then get back to work, and then, just one thing after another. And I was driving to this park, which was about a half hour away. I was driving out in the middle of nowhere, out in the country. I was listening to some music, and the music just kind of touched me, to the point where I started thinking about my mortality, thinking about my friend and what it would be like. 3 years ago, almost exactly 3 years ago, my dad got very sick, and he's still very sick. And it's been a struggle for my family. The first year and a half or so, we went from specialist to specialist. Once we finally found out what was wrong with him, he had to go through a series of figuring out the right medicine, the right cocktail, as I always called it. Now he's still on medicine. He's on a lot of medicine, and he doesn't work because of it. And he's actually close to retirement age now anyway. But so on top of all this sickness, suddenly you have all this medication running through your father's body. And it changed his emotions. We had depression, we had anger, we had tears. It was a hell of a year. And I guess the reason I bring all this up is my dad is doing better in that we're all coping with this. He used to be somebody who worked 80 hours a week, didn't know when to stop. And now, because the way his body is, he has to stop. Because of what the medication has done to him, his memory is horrible. So because of that, he can't work, and he's a changed person. He's very different. So seeing my friend go through his father's passing, of course, brought me thinking about my future with my dad. And our dads are about the same age. And I know we have a long we could have a long life together yet or not. So it's just hard. It's hard dealing with this, but we're moving on. We're learning how to deal and how to cope. But life is different. And when I was driving to the memorial service in the park on this beautiful summer day, in the middle of the country out in Wisconsin, the music I was listening to just got to me. The lyrically, it didn't even match up, but there was some sentiment in the song, and just everything came together. And after being gone for all that time in Vegas and Chicago and all the stimulation and excitement, it finally sunk in, what had happened to my friend's dad. And it finally, my fears and my sadness and my mirroring this onto me came to be, and I lost it driving there on the way to Denmark, Wisconsin. And it was a good release. It felt good to have those tears, to have that moment where I could be sad before I had to be strong for my friend. My friend did alright. His sister did alright. His mom did what you could expect. And you felt horrible seeing them this way. Like I said, though, it was a beautiful day, seeing all the little kids run around. I was able to see friends I hadn't seen in a while, and then after the park day, we spent kind of the rest of the evening together. And yesterday, I just felt relieved and relaxed. Kind of like I finally got this out of my system a little bit, and finally dealt with some of the daddy issues that I've been having. And I've got we all have issues with our fathers, but it's just interesting what it takes to bring that out and what it takes to open those valves. But as a postscript, the original part of this post, this weekend I'm going to Milwaukee for a friend's wedding. I haven't even thought about the wedding, to be honest. I'm standing up in it. I'm an usher. I haven't given it much thought because I've been so busy with all these other things. And I ended up getting my room at the last minute, and I was going to stay in this expensive room for 2 nights, very expensive room for 2 nights by myself. And tonight I finally called the groom. We're making our plans. Another one of my closest friends called me about staying with them for a night, cutting costs, and it's just like my friends, suddenly we were all there. Suddenly it's about this wedding, and we're all there for each other, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. And finally, I got over this wedding deal. I got over the stress of some of these unknowns with Vegas and even with Chicago, and now I'm going to spend 4 days in Milwaukee, going to another Brewer game after the wedding, spend a few days there with my friends, just have a good time. So I'm amazed how life, 4 weddings and a funeral. I mean, that's kind of what I feel like. Granted, I had 1 wedding and a funeral, but so close to each other. And it's like you need these things. You need to start over, whether it's seeing a friend start over or start something anew. Seeing how people cope with death, how people cope with life. It all goes on. Circle of life, light and day, black and white. I could go on. Obviously, the dichotomy of all this, we all get it. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I've been feeling somber. I've been feeling a weight. I've been carrying this weight. And I feel like I got rid of some of that over the weekend. Just seeing my friends, seeing that they're good and healthy and happy as they could be, and that they're surviving, and that it's okay to feel the way I feel. But just to get some of that out, just to have that release, just to relieve some of that pressure, and knowing that we're all going through this together. So that's all for now. Thanks for listening. Hopefully I'll talk to you before I leave. Otherwise, talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.